The next presentation has the title Device Advice, Restricting Public Device Usage for Those Under 15. Please welcome CJ Towns.
Imagine eating at your favorite restaurant with a friend. Party of 10 comes from the host, and both of you avert your attention to the incoming horde. You watch them as they sit and chat up a storm, disrupting the restaurant's natural ambiance. While eating, you are disturbed by this same group, except this time it is one of the kids. This 10-year-old is particularly obnoxious. He is being unruly, kicking the other kids and throwing a tantrum. Out of the corner of your eye, though, you notice, with relief, the child's mother get up. She hands the kid a bag discreetly. The kid smiles cynically up at her and proceeds to set the bag on the table and look at it with intense interest. He then extracts an indistinct square from it. What could be in it, you ask? You stop and stare in disbelief as you finally realize what it is. It's a brownie? Why would the mother give her son more sugar? You exclaim in confusion. You stop and stare in disbelief. As you leave, you glance at the table. The same kid who was bouncing off the walls is now slouched in his chair, barely able to stay awake. You come to your senses as you finally realize what has happened. The mom has drugged her little son with the magic brownie. You begin driving home, still taken aback that the mother has given her little son marijuana in order to keep him quiet. This narrative is an example of a daily occurrence with many families. Although most parents do not give their beautiful kids marijuana directly, they do hand their kids an addictive object. But the question is, what is this object? This object in our daily lives is our devices. We see how well they work for not only kids, but adults too. But we must wonder, if it works so well in distracting us, what is the price that we must pay? That price is too costly, so I advocate that the federal government pass a law that bans the purchase and public use of personal electronic devices for kids under 15, because these devices are addictive and they harm the user mentally and physically. If we care about our kids and their future, we should be enforcing this law. And through that, we can gain 3 beneficial outcomes. First, it will help to improve our kids' social interactions, preparing them for future jobs and interviews. Secondly, it will protect them from harmful information from the internet. And lastly, it will make them more responsible, teaching them to not always rely on technology for their every need. But you may be wondering, isn't this law infringing upon our rights as American citizens? Although this argument does restrict a parent's and child's freedom of speech, it is not truly disregarding and denying their rights. They can use shared devices, which are great supplements for their personal devices. But also, kids are not completely being stripped away from technology. They are still allowed to use technology in private spaces, and parents can make guidelines for their children to follow, like limited screen time. So technically, this law is not disregarding a child's rights on how to use their devices, and with parents, they still have a say on how this law affects their children. It is just like how American citizens accept age restrictions regarding access to alcohol. Well, technology is just as addictive. Therefore, there is already legal precedence for banning objects or placing limitations on the use of certain materials, despite the freedoms granted in the First Amendment. Other parents say that being a parent is a difficult task, and I'm busy most of the time. So I need to occupy my kids effectively with technology so I can work. Why would you want to take that away from me? In a child's case, especially if they are young, they should not begin adapting and learning with technology, because between the ages 2 and 7 is when a child's brain begins crucial development. Andy Crouch, a Christian author and parent, writes that Difficulty and resistance are crucial to helping our brains adapt to learning. And the last thing you need is to have things made too easy. For a child's developing brain, the best technology remains books and paper, so that they will not fall subject to the crippling information on the internet and their own devices. We never want anything bad for our kids, especially as parents. So why are we letting our kids make bad decisions with technology? We should assist our kids by restricting public access to phones, tablets, computers, and consoles. We only want the best for our kids, and through enforcing this technological law against underage device usage, we will achieve a noble goal: ensuring great outcomes for our children's education and their glorious God-willed future. Thank you.